bolstering or pillows. Right, and start sitting comfortably, whatever that is for you. Just making ourselves comfortable, but allowing our spine to be nice and long. Relaxing our shoulders, maybe closing our eyes or just letting them be soft. We'll start to elongate our breath and slow the breath down and draw it all the way in and all the way down. And then exhale it all the way out. Just letting our awareness rest in our breath as we take a nice full inhale, slowly without forcing it. And exhale, letting the belly relax, letting the shoulders relax, the tongue, the jaw, the brow. And if any sound wants to come out on the exhale, you can just let it be, let it come. Oh. Just bringing our breath to awareness, letting go of our mind, and just the busyness of the mind. You can relax. And then bringing our hand, one hand to the hara or the dantian below the navel, just gently tapping as we continue to breathe fully. And then bringing our fingertips up to our heart, thymus, chest area, just gently tapping around the heart. And we'll let our hands continue up to our head. Massage our scalp and stimulate all of our meridians that run through the scalp. Waking up our head. And then taking our fingers to our ears, gently massaging and kind of pressing and pulling on the ears to wake up our vagus nerve. Just give the ears a little massage. And then putting our fingers inside our ears and gently pulling down and holding, just taking a breath here. Great, and then letting our arms come out from our shoulders. We'll reach our arms forward, pulling our spine back, sort of rounding the back, and then bringing our arms back as we lift our heart and kind of squeeze the arms to get towards each other, right? And flapping our wings, reaching forward and nice and big flapping. Full breath. Letting our spine move. Good to wake up our spine in the morning as well. And then next time we reach our arms forward, just go ahead and let them relax down and bring your legs into a long-legged butterfly. So feet in front of us, maybe a pillow under your legs if you like that or something. And we'll come forward over our legs. So just relaxing, allowing the hips and the legs to totally relax here. a nice way to start to open the hips, stretch our sacrum. If you want to let your head hang, we can also stretch our spine, and rounding our back always stretches the spine and decompresses the vertebra. And massage the feet if you like as well while you're here. Accomplishing more than one thing at a time always gives one a good sense of fulfillment. Like, oh, look at all the things I'm doing. One time, massaging my feet, stretching my sacrum, my gallbladder meridian, and just letting go, letting the hips go. So as always in yin, we can do the pose that we're doing in class or doesn't work for your body today. You can always do something a little different, whether it's a modification or a different pose altogether. Just allowing this to be our time to listen to our body, what it needs, letting it kind of take the lead in that regard. As long as we're stretching, twisting, or squeezing, there's good things happening to our fascia, our muscles, our bones. Okay, so we'll go ahead and walk ourselves up from there. Got a little warm up stretch there. And when you come up, we can lift our knees and maybe kind of windshield wiper them or whatever feels good. And we'll come into half shoelace. So that's with our right leg crossed on top of our left, stacking the knees as close as possible. Another option, if this doesn't work for you, can always be both legs extended out in front. Okay, and we'll just start with a little twist. So taking our left hand, grabbing onto that right leg, right arm behind us, lengthen the spine and spiral back. Taking a breath here. Just breathing into that twist. And then we'll come forward and we'll just let our body kind of lean forward over the legs. You might wedge your hands under that knee for support. If your right leg is crossed on top like this. But if you need to do caterpillar with both legs extended, that's an option as well. So whatever feels right for you. depending on the knees and every day can be different. So today we welcome in the Chinese Lunar New Year. On February 4th will be the beginning of the official beginning of the Chinese New Year. Always happens on February 4th. But today is the Lunar New Year, and we're entering into the Yin Water Rabbit year. Coming out of that Young Tiger year. So last year was a very intense, impulsive type of energy. And this year is going to be very different than last year in that sense. So 12 years ago, 2011 was 12 years ago, would have been the last year of the rabbit. Wasn't a Yin water rabbit, but the last rabbit year. We might think back to that time. Just remember back to that year. And the sign of the rabbit is a symbol of longevity, peace, and prosperity in Chinese culture. And the yin water element represents sensitivity, intuition, and in its most positive form, a way of inner peace. Put those two together. It's the energy of the year ahead. Okay, so we'll slowly come up from there. Do that nice stretch in the back of our left leg. We'll uncross the legs and give them a little shake movement. And then we'll cross our left leg stacked on top of the right leg. That works for you. And we'll hold on to our left leg with our right hand, left arm behind us, lengthen the spine, come into a gentle twist here. Continuing to just tune into our breath, letting it be natural and full. So that it can move the chi throughout our body. All right, and then we'll come back around and just let our body come forward over our legs, maybe wedging your hands underneath that knee or something underneath that knee for support, if you like, or both legs out in front if this doesn't work for you. Just relaxing without forcing it, right? Allowing our body to relax into the pose. So the water, the water rabbit is actually a 60-year cycle. And the last water rabbit year was in 1963. So those of us that were around in 1963 might think back to that time. Might have a little bit of a residual or echo of a feeling that was present back then, since it's the beginning of the lunar year, and lunar or moon, it's all about our feeling realm, emotional body. Definitely found that this morning. Almost like a ghost of, or an apparition of what was present in my 5-year-old body life, and the decisions that I made then about life. Interesting to think back on that, reflect. The rabbit is a symbol of good luck in Chinese tradition, and is emblematic of patience. So it is said that if we can just wait patiently until the right time to act on something, that we can bring good luck into our life, experience good luck in things. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. So we'll come up from there slowly. Just kind of walk up to sitting and let our leg come off of our other leg. And then we'll come into full shoelace. And if that isn't doable for you, crossing the right leg on top of the left, you can just sit cross-legged for now while we do eagle with our arms. And then you can, there's a couple of options for the hips. So crossing our right under our left arm and just grabbing hold with our fingers or wherever we can on the base of our hand there. We might start by letting our arms kind of relax into this pose. Then we can always lift our elbows up or move it around a little bit to change that stretch. And of course, we can always come out of it whenever we want, right? Feel free to release out of the arm part of the pose if you need to. And also lean forward and rest our elbows on top of our leg. Add a little more pressure into the hips here. Getting a good stretch through our upper back and our left shoulder and upper arm. Getting into the upper body meridians when we do stretches or particular poses with our arms, right? The small intestine gets a good stretch in this pose, I think. Particularly small intestine responsible for separating out the pure and the impure, right, in our body and in our thoughts. Anytime you want to release the arms, you can do that, or you can stay here a little longer. We do release, though, we can just fold forward over the legs. Relax forward. Or if shoelace doesn't work for you sitting, you can come to shoelace on your back. Or another option would be what's called sitting swan in yin, where you cross into a figure 4 position with that leg. You can get a good hip stretch this way as well. Well, any of those options work. Feeling the stretch in the right hip area. Think about the nature of a rabbit and the characteristics of the rabbit, the hair. They're considered fear animals. They always stay close to the earth and close to their warren. It's called a warren, their burrow, so that they can hide when necessary. They can see their predator from far away, have an practically 360-degree range of vision. So they can be ready and out with their predator. About the symbolism of that in life. Stay close to the earth. We might retreat into our little hole or cave and meditate and find safety and respite and be able to spot danger from far away. So that intuitive faculty is strengthened. And the rabbit is very well known in myths and legend as the bringer or the connector between the worlds, between the earth, the underworld, and the heaven, and can journey between all 3 worlds. can make the connection between all of those levels of being. And the natural fear and sense of caution is, of course, a good thing to have and to cultivate, as long as it's a real fear and not an imaginary fear. Okay, so we'll start to slowly come up from there and just walk your hands toward you if you're sitting, or take your time getting up from lying on your back if that's where you are. We'll undo our legs and shake them out, and you might sit back on your hands and kind of windshield wiper the legs. We could also lift our hips up and down a few times. Never feels good to get the blood moving. And then we'll cross the left leg over the right. And if you're not able to do that, maybe sit cross-legged with your other leg crossed on top instead, right? So the left leg might be on top of the right. And we'll bring our right or left arm. I always have to do both. Okay, left arm under our right, grabbing hold of the hand, letting the arms relax here to start with. And if you want, you can always kind of lift the elbows out more, or move the hands, or just whatever feels good to stretch your arms and back. Or just let the arms relax, or lean forward onto your knee if you want. And any time that you feel you need to come out of the arm part of the pose, or come in and out of it, feel free to do that. You can come focus more on the lower body part of the pose. And when you do want to release your arms, if this full shoelace pose doesn't work for you, coming onto your back, or coming into the seated swan pose, which is a figure 4 with your leg crossed in a figure 4, on left leg on top. Another thing about rabbits is that they're tricksters. So they can know where their enemy is at all, or their adversary is at all times with their 300 and almost 360-degree range of vision. And they can dart and zigzag around in all directions, so they don't move in a linear fashion. Right? They're very non-linear animals. And if they can't escape their predator by running in all directions like that, then they camouflage themselves, retreat into the environment. They hide that way. Or they jump back into their burrow if it's nearby. And it's their unpredictability that is a strong point for them, right? So it's that unpredictability, and we think about that in life in general. For us as humans, we do have a very unpredictable. We're in a very unpredictable time anyway, but it calls on us to engage our sensitivity and our intuition a lot more. So the rabbit depends on its ability to sense acutely where the danger is and exactly what is needed to seize the opportunity. So it's about seizing the opportunity as it arises. So we can slowly start to come out from that pose. Take your time. So if you're lying down in a supine version of shoelace, take your time getting up, or sitting version, uncross the legs, shake them out. Whatever feels good to the legs here. And we'll just take a moment to open our hips and come into a dragonfly. So with our legs as wide as they want to be, you might have a pillow in between your legs to support you if you want. And we'll just let our body come forward and relax here. Feel free to change that straddle time. Might start in one place and it might need to kind of get used to the stretch first and then widen out. Okay, so let's go ahead and slowly come up from there and bring the legs close together, give them a shake and wiggle. And we'll come to Sphinx on our belly, but first we'll come on our belly into infant pose. So we can sort of tighten up our back muscles. So bringing our arms alongside the body. It's the same as locust in yang yoga. We'll reach back and lift up. Looking forward and down as we reach for our feet. Lifting up, pulling the shoulders back. And then bringing our arms forward, bringing our elbows under the shoulders. Just letting the pelvis relax here. Might rock around a little bit, whatever feels good to your hips. We might like to lift our head and get a little bit of a stretch in the front of the neck, a little compression in the back of the neck, if you like that, or move the head around. Rest it on the hands. If that feels better to the neck. It's whatever feels good to your head and neck. We can lift our feet and increase the compression and the stretch if we want to do that. Nourishing our kidneys and our kidney meridian. Opening our door of life, the Jing energy between the second and third lumbar vertebra. The kidneys, which holds and houses the Jing energy, in Chinese medicine is called our essence. It's the 3 different energies, our qi, shen, and jing. So it houses our essence. Kidneys are so vital and responsible for our will and our stamina. This pose is my favorite of all poses. I think I need it the most. Okay, so let's just take a short little break in half frog. Slide our left knee up, just looking to the left and resting the head on the hands for a moment, letting your hip relax, open. Okay, and we'll just slide that leg back down and come into Sphinx again. And if you'd like to come into Seal, you can just straighten the arms, spreading the fingers wide, maybe widening the arms apart a little bit more. Put a pillow under the pelvis to help support. So any of the variations of Sphinx or Seal, in and out as feels right to you for the next couple of minutes. Noticing the breath, making sure it's not getting stuck or labored. Keep the breath even, full. If you are up in Seal pose, you might want to start to slowly make your way down to Sphinx, or kind of gradually coming out of that lumbar compression. Then we'll take a short break or short nap in half frog. Slide your right knee up, look to the right, resting head on hands. And of course, the left arm can always go alongside the body. That's better for your shoulder. All right, then go ahead and slide that leg down. And if you're able to come onto the hands and knees, you can make your way up onto your all fours. If that isn't doable, you can find another position. We'll just start to slowly move our spine and gently curling the tailbone under and letting our back round. Maybe letting the head relax here, and then coming into an arch. Just slowly moving back and forth, maybe gradually getting bigger as we go. Tuning into how our spine feels here. Then coming to neutral, giving the hips a nice little circle, letting our spine go in a sort of spiraling motion. Letting everything go. In the other direction. Nice if you can let your head go with this one. It feels good, as long as it doesn't make you dizzy. I've been going all over the place here. And then we'll sit back into a child's pose, or if you need to be on your back, hug your knees into your chest and maybe finding something that works for you to get a little stretch of your hips and back. Might like to open the knees or open the feet apart a little bit and come more into a tadpole, or it feels good to you today. All right, so we can start to come out of that little nurturing child's pose and bring ourselves around to our back. If you're not already there, you can hug your knees to your chest if you want, if that feels good to kind of change our vantage point here, hugging our body. And then we'll stretch our legs out and bring our arms over our head. Come into Bananasana. So we'll slowly walk our feet over to the right, or just kind of take little steps with your feet over to the right to bend your body to the right, and then taking our torso over that direction. Finding that place where we want to start, where our hips are all the way down, our shoulders all the way on the ground. Find out how much of a crescent the body can make here. And it might deepen as we breathe into it. If this is uncomfortable for the left shoulder, you can always bend your arm, put it across your chest or somewhere that feels more comfortable. Right? Find a position for that arm if you need to. Good for our spine to bend in this lateral way. You can also cross the left ankle over the right ankle to increase the stretch more in the leg area. So Of course, we're really getting into the left rib cage and expanding our ribs and all those little muscles between the ribs, getting a nice stretch and opening. Then we'll walk our legs back and kind of adjust our torso back until we're in a straight line, and then walking our legs over to the left and bending our torso toward the left a bit, just finding the amount of bend where we can keep our shoulders all the way down, our hips all the way down, and might be different on one side than the other. It might be more comfortable on one side than the other too. One side might feel really good to your spine. One side might be not so good or something, depending on our spine, right? So taking into account that. Not many people have a totally straight spine. Usually we have all kinds of things going on there. And of course, you can cross the right ankle on top of the left if you want to. That feels good to stretch the more into the outside of that right leg. Move the right arm into a more comfortable position if needed. Feel our breath just opening up our right rib cage and feeling that nice little, those little muscles in there, the intercostals getting a stretch. Okay, so let's go ahead and kind of bring ourselves back into a straight line, gradually coming back. And then when you do, bring one knee in to your chest and then your other knee in. Pull the knees around a little bit. And if you want to use bolsters, pillows, have them over to the left side, and we'll extend our left leg down the on the ground, pull your right knee in. If you want to kind of adjust your hips over a little bit and then guide that leg across and extending our right arm out, a little bit up, a little bit bent, making sure that shoulder's down and our leg is supported. Might be higher up or it might be lower down, just finding what feels right. And also, if you want to bend your left leg, you can also bring your foot in closer to the hip that way and feel a little more stretch in the top of that left thigh. Allowing the breath to massage all of our internal organs. So with the rabbit as our ally for this upcoming year, we can just meditate on how facing our fears, not running away from them or suppressing them, will allow us to be more in tune with our intuition, our sensitivity. And by thinking before we act, pausing before we, looking before we leap, pausing before we take action, we can take the best advantage of all the opportunities that are going to come along and find that lucky break that rabbit has to offer. Retreating into our little den when necessary and meditating and remembering that bunnies, rabbits, hares, they always come into prayer pose. So they are said to lead a prayerful life because they bring their paws together every time they go to wash their face. So they're associated with a prayerful life. Very different from the impulsive tiger, which is where we're coming from last year. Okay, so let's come slowly out by maybe taking hold of your right knee with your right hand and lifting it up. And we'll center ourselves, hug our knees in. If you have pillows or bolstering, you can bring it over to the other side. And we can extend our right leg down and maybe shift the hips if that feels necessary, and guide the left leg across the body with our left arm extended. Again, shoulder all the way down on the ground, supporting our leg here, finding our twist. It might deepen as we breathe. And our head might want to look to the side our arm is, or to the side where our legs are facing, or up. Feels good to the head and neck. The right leg might want to bend and bring the foot closer to the hip. I think the year of the yin water rabbit might be a very good year for yin yoga. Yin yoga as a meditative practice in the year of the yin water rabbit would be a nice fit. Actually, all forms of yoga and meditation and anything that's meditative or mindful will be good for this coming year. And that brings us into more body awareness, body-mind connection. So feel free to continue to stay in the twist for a little while longer. That feels good to you. And whenever you feel ready, you might start to come out of it and come onto your back and do whatever feels good to your body. To like hug your knees, might come into a sort of a shavasana pose and relax and breathe for a little integration time. Just feeling the energy moving through our body here, feeling our body. And here is a little poem about the rabbit. I dance to the beat of the forest. Listen to Mother Nature's echo, never fearing the future or regretting the past, living in the moment, aware of jungle justice. I follow my own path. Ignore festering disputes. I focus on the beautiful, but recognize the ugly. I strive for harmony and symbolize equality. I am the rabbit.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you all for coming.